Obviously, the meta is pretty different between World Championship and beginner levels, but if you want to look at the true potential of every hero, you gotta look at the highest level of gameplay. The hero picks from the pros at the J-Cup World Championship are going to dictate the top 5 ranking, with more picks meaning the superior hero. I'm going off of number of picks rather than a stat like average kills, since 12 games is a pretty low sample size to judge performance. The picks, on the other hand, are calculated decisions by the pros based on their extensive knowledge of the meta. I'm going to include data from the Grand Finals as well as the pre-finals, since they're all from the same group of 12 players. Nobody understands hero mechanics better than them, so you can trust that they're not choosing inoptimal heroes. For a little bit of context, in tournaments, the pros choose heroes that they think will be able to get them the highest amount of points in a match. These points come from placement as well as ranking, kinda like how they do in typical ranked mode. The idea is that even if one hero is stronger in a 1v1 scenario, another hero that can more easily survive to endgame or counter third parties might actually be the better choice. Okay, with that criteria out of the way, we can get into the rankings. I'll throw in some honorable mentions at the start, and then I'll go from 5th to 1st. Here are the heroes that didn't quite make it, despite having a decent number of picks. These heroes weren't picked quite as often as the top 5, and usually didn't end up being quite as effective, but they did stand out a bit over some of the others that only had 1 or 2 picks. Here are the rest of the heroes that were even picked at all in the finals, with everyone else not shown, not seeing play at all. The honorable mentions are more than competitive in a normal ranked environment, and you might actually be surprised to see Akos here instead of the top 5, since he's been pretty dominant for a while. It just goes to show how strong the rest of the heroes really are when it comes to tournament play. Okay, now we can move into the top 5, with the hero coming in 5th being Takeda, with 12 picks across pre and grand finals. Before J-Cup, I probably would have guessed that Takeda would have ended up in the top 3, but after seeing how the top 4 performed, this makes a lot of sense. Takeda is kind of safe and aggressive at the same time, being able to use his ultimate to mitigate a bunch of damage, or pop it on someone to reliably close out a kill. He can maintain a lot of rage if he doesn't use all of his charges, allowing him to get a kill, cancel his ultimate, pick up a Soul Bloom, and have that ult right back soon after. This lets you maintain momentum and be less likely to be caught out in a bad spot with no ultimate. He happens to be a great duelist in general, but he can definitely struggle against a couple of the heroes that top this list. Moving on to number 4, we have my own main and serial underdog, Tumulch, with 19 picks. Temmie has seen a few buffs over the years, and he's finally in a spot where he's a serious contender. He's sort of always been the niche counter-meta pick, and he still does fall into that in a way, but this is still the strongest he's been in a long time. I won't spoil who the top 2 heroes are quite yet, but Tumulch's ability to counter them is certainly a big reason why he was picked as much as he was. With his skill being the lowest cooldown combo breaker in the game, and recently being buffed to have gold focus on the startup, it's extremely useful for survivability and locking people down. His ultimate provides an opportunity to reset, or try to secure a kill, which, like Takeda's ultimate, has some really valuable versatility. Next is number 3, with 22 picks to her name, Zipping. This character is the definition of safe, and that's why she's ranked in the top 3. She's not nearly as effective at locking down kills as Takeda or Tumulch, but you can't get kills if you're dead, and that's the philosophy of Zipping players. The fact is that even if you're not playing a very aggressive character, you'll still have plenty of opportunities to pick up kills through third parties, or in the end game, or just outlast your opponent's abilities and kill them the old-fashioned way. Zipping's skill is a great soft combo breaker that grants you gold focus and a solid heal, so putting some good movement to use and kiting the enemy long enough to reactivate the skill will slowly burn through their resources and let you heal up. Her first ultimate provides a ton of regen if activated early, or if you're caught off guard in a lethal combo, it automatically procs once you hit 0 HP, which is the ultimate safety net. At number 2, following her recent buffs, we have Faria, who saw 25 picks. I called Zipping the definition of safe, but Faria has some aspects that rival it, along with some aggressive tools. Her first skill was chosen every time, being a gold combo breaker that blasts her away. The ultimate of choice was always the third, which is the one that drops the beacon that can then deploy the mech. Getting into the mech offers an almost guaranteed full reset, unless you're being focused down by multiple people with ranged weapons. Typically though, you have enough ult uptime to not only heal, but also fire off some cannon shots to help reverse the aggression. It's pretty difficult to take someone out with Faria's cannon in the open world, but if you're in Yang, it's a different story. She is incredibly strong in that arena, and when winning Yang not only means a kill, but a strong buff and great loot, that's huge. Faria has great reset potential out in the open, insane pressure in Yang, and she can be a menace in the endgame zone. All that combined makes for a very well-rounded and powerful hero. Finally at number 1, You've probably guessed it if you've been playing ranked solos, and certainly if you watch Jacob, but your champion of 2023, with 36 picks, is Hadi. He's extremely versatile, counters a whole bunch of heroes on the roster, and is just perfect for tournament play. Even with a hero like Tumulch in the top 5, who has pretty good counterplay potential against Hadi, it's not a hard counter by any means, since Hadi can fly over and out of Temmie's ultimate and outlast it. Honestly, Feria seemed like one of the only true contenders against him in Yang, and she was still outpicked by nearly 50%. He's definitely not impossible to play against, but it's very difficult in a lot of scenarios for sure. He has an incredibly strong combo breaker skill that gives him a bunch of spacing to reposition, and his ultimate offers insanely good reset potential with how he can evade while flying and heal at the same time. You can stay in the area and heal, you can boost off to try to lose an opponent entirely and stall for your ult to come back, or you can dial up the aggression and put his super effective Plume Blade to use and destroy heroes that don't have the proper counters. I can see him being a persistent top tier hero for some time, certainly at least going into 2024. That's it for the top 5. Jacob really showed off how amazing the heroes on this list really are, but if there's a hero that you enjoy playing that you didn't see on here at all, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're horrible. Keep in mind that this top 5 is from a maximum skill level tournament environment, so plenty of other characters can work just fine in normal ranked mode. I hope you enjoyed the video and learned a little bit about the current hero meta, and I'll see you next time.